All right. We had 1 week of Jager action, and here we are looking at week 8 of the USL League One season. Welcome to another episode of League One on the Rocks. My name is Rich. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at I'm Rich, but I'm not. And that is the man who faced a plethora, a litany of questions last week, and he didn't back down from a single one. Co-host extraordinaire, Brian. You can find him on social media at Mediocre Ace. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Not not as good as a Union Omaha fan, but as a fan of some good soccer matches, this was a good weekend of them. We got a
It
good
was a
weekend
great
coming
week.
up too.
We really do. And look, we gotta before we get into any of that stuff, we gotta dive straight into what we're drinking tonight. What do you got going on?
Tonight I'm gonna go with some high noons.
There you
Not
go.
my favorite, not my favorite flavor, but they are the last two that were in my fridge, and I need to get rid of them. So
Yeah,
that's what we're going with.
I've never had that before.
I like them personally. I know a lot of people hate them. A lot of people hate on them because they're seltzers, but does the job for me.
Nice. I am gonna go with the Woodford Reserve. Let me get that up to the camera. Hopefully, it can come into focus. There we go. Woodford Reserve.
Solid,
It's the Kentucky Derby bottle. So that's what I'm gonna go with tonight.
very solid choice.
Yeah. So Brian knows the story, but I haven't told anybody else. I haven't put on social media or anything like that. I went to Costco last weekend because I wanted to get some more whiskey. And as I'm walking down the whiskey aisle, there was a crate of Elijah Craig sitting there. Obviously, I like Elijah Craig, and in the middle of this crate was this random bottle I had never seen before. Now, when you walk up and down the Costco aisle, none of those whiskeys are above $50 or something like that, or at least I don't recall seeing any of them that were that high priced. So I picked up this bottle, read its flavor profile, saw that it was an aged bourbon, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. So I go through the whole checkout lane, get home, look at the receipt. Should have looked, beforehand, before like even finalizing that purchase. But anyways, get home, look at the receipt. It's $189 bourbon that I just purchased. And I got to tell you, it may have been the most delicious bourbon that I'll ever taste, but I took that right back the next day. I'm not spending $190 on a bottle of bourbon.
Yeah. So I didn't ask you this, but it definitely came to mind when you had first told me about that. And I don't really know that it is your fault in that one. Because when I've gone to Costco, I've come out spending like $300-400, only expecting to pay like $200. So
Yeah.
I mean, really, I think it's Costco's fault at that point.
Yeah. You know how people have like the Target challenge, like try not to spend over 50 or $100 when you go to Target or something like that?
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a similar challenge when you go to Costco. And um, yeah, I definitely failed that day. That's for sure.
It happens. It happens to the best of us, honestly. You're
Oh,
not.
that's
Oh my gosh.
Woodford Reserve. That's a good one.
I'll be right back. My dog is being super needy right now.
No, that's good. Um, so I'll go ahead and jump into the segue to the Jägermeister Cup. Round one. And what's really funny about this round is when you look at the results, the overall record of League One clubs against the championship clubs, it's very eerie how parallel it runs to the success rate of League One clubs against championship clubs in the Open Cup. Because when you look at the League One record against championship teams in the Open Cup, they come out to 16-26, which if you're batting baseball, it's a 381. So you're doing pretty well. But in round one of the Jägermeister Cup, let me scroll down here. We had 13 matches where a League One team was facing a a championship club, and we ended up with a 5-8 record. And so, baseball terms, again, you're batting a 385, which again is a pretty good batting average. I'd say it's a really good one. But a 385 versus a 381 in the U.S. Open Cup. So it's weird how there's this parallel success rate between Jägermeister Cup and the Open Cup, which is cool. Already getting a comment here in the chat from Luke. What's the most you would spend on a bottle of bourbon? Ooh, it's actually a really good question. Brian, we have our first question of the evening, and it's from Luke. And he's asking, what's the price that you would pay? What's the highest? No, yeah, he says, what's the most you would spend on a bottle of bourbon?
Um, the most I would spend on a bottle of bourbon. Um, that's a really good question. I don't think I've ever actually thought about that. Um,
Yeah,
I don't buy a whole lot of hard liquor for myself. I'm more of a beer and seltzer guy personally. So a lot of stuff that I get is either given to me or I buy for like a party or something like that. Or like when we have board game nights or stuff like that, I'll buy stuff for that. But I think about 70, 80 bucks might be as much as I'd go.
that's exactly what I was gonna. So I've spent $70 to $80 on a bottle, and it was for the 12-year whiskey. Oh, what was it called? It was like McClelland or something like that. I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly
Hmm.
what it was, but it was like a 12-year Scotch, and it was really good. Um, but man, trying trying to rationalize spending 190 on a bottle of bourbon. Now, I will say this: it was 17-year-old bourbon, and the flavor profile sounded really good. I even sent a picture to Brian so he could read it, and even the bottle art
Yep.
was nice too.
Yeah. I
It
think
was
that's
called
exactly what I said to you. I was like, they would have had me with the marketing alone on that one.
yeah.
The
If you want to check it out, it was called Fanged Pursuit, and it had a leopard on the front of it. Um, Tim coming in saying not $100 at Costco. Yeah, no. And, oh, what was it, McAllen? I can't remember what it was called, but it was yeah, it was a 12-year Scotch, and it was really good. And that was the Scotch that convinced me to do neat and not on the rocks.
Yep.
And it was just a totally different experience having it neat, and I've never turned back. Whenever I go for whiskey, I always go neat.
So for anybody that's curious, up on the screen now is the bottle. And yeah, that definitely that definitely would have drawn me in for sure.
Yeah.
And yes, I expertly hid my own face in this one. 100% on purpose. But yeah, I would have bought it based off of that alone
Yeah.
until I saw the price tag.
Yeah, exactly. While you were gone, I was telling them that it's eerily similar how the League One teams performed against the championship teams in the Open Cup compared to the Jägermeister Cup. The overall record, as you can see in the outline for the uh, Open Cup, was 381. Your 16 wins, 26 losses. But if you go to the round one of the Jägermeister Cup, we had 5 wins, 8 losses. You're batting 385. So 381 versus 385, like eerily similar.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this was also like the first real weekend where it was all League One versus just about all championship teams. So you're probably going to have that at least for a few more years until I think some of the teams kind of find the rest of that quality and the rest of those players that they're going to need. And plus, it's early. There's a lot of teams that traditionally have been very strong in League One that are not playing as well right now at the beginning of this season. So I expect that number to go up as the season moves on.
Yeah, so when we talk about the Jägermeister Cup and we look at the current standings, if you're a club that lost your first match of the Jägermeister Cup, you're looking at the standings, you have 0 points. Are you giving up on the Jägermeister Cup already, knowing that you still have 3 matches ahead of you?
No, no, you can't. You can't give up after the first match. I think there's something to be said maybe as you move forward in this competition, and if it just doesn't seem like you're going to get much traction in it, and maybe playing some of your younger players and doing stuff like that. But honestly, if you can't throw the baby away with the bathwater after one match. I mean, it's just it it's crazy that anybody would kind of like consider not wanting to not wanting to go full bore in the tournament just because they suffered a first round loss. You don't see that in any other group stage competitions around Europe. I mean, they might play younger players at the beginning of it and just kind of let it ride and see where it goes, but I don't expect any team to really phone it in yet.
Yeah, because the reason I'm asking that is because with 6 to 7 teams in each of these 6 groups, you have 4 matches. If you come out of round one and you have 0 points, is that insurmountable?
It's an uphill climb, that's for sure.
Yeah.
To get through, you probably got to win the rest of the three. So
Do you have the Jägermeister standings up on one of your monitors?
I
Because I was going to ask.
have, I don't think so.
That's a tough question because yeah, that's way too involved. Because I was going to ask you which team's currently sitting on 0 points has the best chance of moving forward. But I mean, there's plenty of teams that have 0 points, and trying to look through all the matches they play coming up, that's a too involved question, too early in the Jägermeister Cup as well.
Yeah, maybe throw that one out after the next round. I think
Yeah,
halfway through the group stage is a good spot to kind of
yeah.
think about that.
Well, let's flip it the other direction. Which matches impressed you the most? Any performances?
Um, let me take a look. The Charlotte match was kind of my biggest one this weekend. Um, Charlotte taking down their rivals in North Carolina FC. That's a big one. They were definitely all up for that one. I mean, as far as anything further than that, seeing Texoma take El Paso to penalties, another big one. I mean, Texoma needs something, and that could be something. I mean, they're coming off of that draw versus Forward Madison, then you come out as a draw against El Paso. You lose in penalties, but you take it the distance and make them get 6 penalties to beat you. That's huge. Um, and then also, I mean, you got to go with the upset. Spokane taking down Oakland Roots. Another huge one. Probably the biggest upset that was going to happen this weekend. Um, I mean, we say that, but we know how talented Spokane is, and I think that's just more of a testament to Oakland Roots and saying and believing in how good they are. Um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I don't think it gets any better than seeing the League One team in Charlotte take down the championship team, North Carolina, after North Carolina bolted for championship. That just makes it all the better.
Sure does. And the the one that really caught my attention here was Naples taking down uh, Charleston Battery.
That's a good one.
Because even last week we were talking about, how does Naples adjust to the 1-0 loss to Knox, and the match before that? How they had 2 straight losses at home to One Knox. They lost the Open Cup match before that to the Tampa Bay Rowdies, where they went 1-1 to 120, and then they lost 8-9 in PKs. So you had two straight losses, and that's when, we were talking. This is a team that went undefeated to start their inaugural season, and to go that long undefeated and then have two sequential losses, how would they respond to that? And here they did. Like, they went out there, and Charleston Battery is one of those premier teams we talk about in the championship. They're up there with the Louisville
Hmm.
City. Um, so to have them host Charleston Battery and take a 1-0 win, that's a big win.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this is a Charleston Battery team that's sitting fourth in the Eastern Conference for USL Championship. So they're definitely not a slouch for a team. Um, I mean, losing to the Tampa Bay Rowdies with the season they're having right now, that's a little bit harder to justify. But yeah, big huge win against Charleston Battery for sure. That's a good turnaround too, because I don't necessarily know that they needed to have a turnaround. I think it's just one of those things in this sport where you're going to have runs of better play than others. Um, but it definitely can't hurt. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from that one for FC Naples for sure.
And special shout out to One Knox getting their they hosted. It was a Jägermeister Cup match, but getting the attendance record in that match was incredible. They had over 6,000 at that match, and it's just so cool to see attendance continue to ramp up. And it's great to see that One Knox is the club that breaks that record. There were a few matches that were sitting right at that 6,000 mark. Union Omaha had 59 47, I think, for
Something
the
like
League
that.
One
And
final last November. And so to have these clubs sitting right around that 6,000 threshold, and then One Knox coming in and boom, going right above that for the home opener, the home opener for their new stadium.
Mhm.
Awesome. Congrats, One Knox. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. You finally get a home of your own, and then you go ahead and fill it and get the biggest crowd in League One. That's insane. So, shot across the bow for the Richmond Kickers and Forward Madison on this one. You might have a new contender for most attended team.
Let's go. I love it.
I'll take it.
I would I love any of those shots of City Stadium when it's completely packed at like that one side of City Stadium,
Hmm.
especially when they get the beer garden behind the goal,
Oh
when
yeah.
they get that one filled too. It's just so cool, and I wish I could be there on one of those nights when it's like jam packed, shoulder to shoulder. Because I bet the environment is incredible. Bree Stevens always packed, and the environment is always awesome.
Mm.
But man, if you could be there for one of those nights, that'd be cool. So it'd be awesome to go to One Knox sometime to check that out.
Yeah, I think going to Knoxville, Tennessee. I mean, there's tons of other stuff to do there too. So
Yep.
for them to be able to draw that crowd in a city with that much stuff to do is is impressive as well. You
Yeah.
talk about some of these other teams in the league. I don't want to say there's nothing to do in these towns, but I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. There is nothing to do here, and we don't even draw that much. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's just a testament to uh, the supporters that One Knox has, that they can be in a place like that and still show out and get the attendance record. It's just super impressive.
Yeah. But hey, one thing that Omaha does is actually happening this weekend, and it's Warren Buffett's big to do thing when all the rich people come in town.
Oh yeah, of course I knew that. I'm definitely going to be attending that. I have that sort of net worth. You guys didn't know, but I'm the majority owner of Union Omaha.
I know people. I have several friends who purchased one share of Berkshire Hathaway so they could go to this, because apparently, like, there's like insane deals at this thing. But whatever.
And man,
Even
that's
purchasing 1 share, like, I'm not interested.
that's how the rich stay rich, man.
Yeah. Tim coming in saying, "Don't go singing Rocky Top if you find yourself in Knoxville." I don't know, man. It's a catchy college fight song.
It's a fight song.
Yeah. I could sing some of it right here, right now, but I know that I would not make Tim happy, and yeah, Brian would give me a weird look, so I'm not going to do it.
No, that's just my face. It's I get that all the
That's just the
time.
way it is.
Yeah, I do. I get that all the time. I get it especially at work. I'm very expressive with my face. I don't mean anything by it. It just is. It's because you can't see my hands. Like my hands are under the desk for a reason because I'm fiddling with stuff or like spinning pens in my hands right now. That's what I do every single show.
Hey, I got a marker in my hand,
Have to.
right there with you. Well, what would you say is your biggest takeaway? RBF resting Brian face. There you go.
I suppose. I mean, it is what it is. I'll take it, Tim. Appreciate it.
What is your biggest takeaway from the first round of the Jaeger Cup? Do you like the way that it's currently formatted? Do you think that it's, I don't know, slanted one direction? Do you have changes that you'd like to see next season? What's your biggest takeaway?
Mm. My biggest takeaway from this weekend is championship teams seem to be a little bit better than League One teams. Um, it's not a lot. I mean, there was only a couple matches where it wasn't close. Madison and Indy 11 and Louisville City and Richmond. But really, everything else was close. I mean, the Omaha match wasn't, it was close in score, but not close in actual play. Um, I mean, these championship teams are not that much better than League One teams. And I think having a week or two more in the start of their season versus the start of the League One season kind of showed itself a little bit here. So I expect League One teams to get better, excuse me, as it goes on. But yeah, right now, obviously, championships still has the advantage.
That's a really good point because if you look at the last 2 years of the Open Cup, there have been 18 matches, and let's see, there were three, six, 10 of those 18 US Open Cup matches went to extra time and or PKs. But in this first round of the Jaeger Cup, only two went to extra time. So that tells you there's a little bit of a stark difference there. There's either a higher commitment to the Jaeger Cup. There's um I don't know, man. I think you're right. There, as much as we like to tout the difference between League One and Championship, um, the difference between them getting smaller and smaller every year, in a one-off, like we see in the Open Cup, we see some good drama. We see some fun matchups there. It's hyper regionalized and all that kind of stuff. When you start to throw around some of these, these other matchups with clubs taking on clubs that may not be hyper regionalized, you start to see a little bit more of a difference there because they're not as familiar with each other. They just go straight in. I think you're right. We're starting to see that difference between Championship and League One. But we still have three more rounds
Yeah.
to also gauge as well.
Yeah. Like I said, there's going to be time. And I think League One teams are going to grow into the tournament a little bit more. This is also the first iteration of it. So it's not like I was expecting League One teams to come in and have the majority of the wins. Um, but I will say I did expect a little bit better of a showing from them. I mean, 5-8. Eh. It's not great. It's not horrible. It's not great. It just is. So I think League One will end up somewhere around the 500 mark by the end of it. If I had to take a guess, I think once everybody kind of settles into the tournament, the format, they start getting some more tape on these teams because that's another thing that's going to change year over year is in championship, the roster turnover is huge as well, just like in League One. Um, so you don't have tape, a whole lot of tape on the guys that are there and how they all play together. So the further on we get in the season, into these later group stage rounds, then hopefully some knockout rounds for some League One teams, I'd expect them to show out and do a lot better.
Yeah. The one group I think is really interesting to watch is Group Six. Um, so there are of the six groups, there are three that have a League One team in the first or second place spot. Group Six has two League One teams occupying, first and second, with Tormenta and then Naples in first and second. I just sat here talking about how teams were facing other clubs that may not be a part of the regionalization that we typically see with the Open Cup. Group Six, I feel like these teams know each other well and have faced each other enough that that whole discussion is just thrown out the window because Tormenta, you have Greenville, you have Miami FC, Tampa Bay Rowdies, Charleston Battery. Those teams have been around. They faced each other in the Open Cup. They know each other. Now you throw in this little ingredient of Naples coming in and making things interesting, but the other five teams know each other. So I think that one is the most interesting group to watch. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of drama going down the pipe.
Oh yeah, once you get those Florida teams all playing each other, I think there's going to be some bragging rights out on the table for that one.
Yeah. It was also interesting how Indy 11 was able to match their preseason score against Ford Madison, 4-0 both times. Um, not not great for Ford Madison fans, but I still find it interesting that Indy 11 was able to do it in preseason and then do it in the Jägermeister Cup.
Yeah. So we have a chat coming in. I'm going to ask you this one, Rich, since I usually get the questions. How many League One teams will make it to the knockout round of the Jägermeister Cup?
I'm going to be brutally honest here, and I will say a max of one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
a max
And
of one.
the team that I think gets out is going to be Naples.
Ooh. So we're talking about the most interesting group, and you think that the brand new expansion team is the one that gets through in a group where all the other teams know each other. Is that just based on the fact that all of the other teams know each other and know how each other plays, and FC Naples is just the new guy on the block that nobody knows?
They're the Joker. They're the wild card. Um yeah, I think that when you look at the other clubs or the other groups, it's just so stacked,
Yeah.
both in regards to how many League One teams are in that group, and then which championships teams those League One clubs are playing. I think the odds are so slim, especially looking at the current standings. I think the odds are so slim um, that the only team I think has a viable chance of getting out of the group stage is Naples.
Hot take. That is a very hot
Yeah,
take.
where you at?
Um, I do like the FC Naples pick. Ah, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, I'm going to say two get it. I agree with you. FC Naples probably goes through that group just by virtue of that group and how good we know FC Naples is. The only other team I really see having a fighting chance of getting out of the group that they, excuse me, of the group that they're in is Spokane. I think Spokane does get through Group One. Um, Group One now is full of teams, and it's definitely going to be a battle for them to get out. But I really like the Spokane team. I think they're hungry after last season. I think they've got a good roster that can compete against championship teams. And I think their style of play lends itself to being able to produce these upsets on a weekly basis.
So they go on the road to Monterey Bay, which is completely winnable for them. Monterey Bay has improved, but I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Spokane. There's my bias. They go on the road to Las Vegas, who currently leads the group, and then they host Sacramento Republic.
The different Sac Republic team than years past.
True.
This is a
Also
much
true.
regressed Sacramento Republic team. This isn't the same
Yeah.
team that went to the Open Cup final 2 years ago. Or was that last year? Whatever year that was.
Last year.
It's all running together at this point. The seasons, forget we've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years now. I don't even know how many years we've been doing it now, but or maybe I'm just getting
I
old.
do like
It's one
your
of the
pick
two.
of Spokane.
I think they can. I think they've got a chance.
Yeah. Hi, Amy.
Hey,
I don't
what's
know that
going on?
I don't know that we've ever had Amy in the chat. Amy, do you have a question? Throw a question at us. We'll answer it for you.
Any question you want, Amy.
But yeah, so that's my take on the Jägermeister Cup. So yeah, I'm glad that I finally get to have a hot take. I know that you get to get your fair share of hot takes, but I'm glad I get to have my hot take too.
Hey, we went away from the rants, so I mean, we're not far enough in the season for me to bring them back. I don't think yet, but yeah,
Okay.
I think every once in a while, you need to be the one that's scrutinized for some hot takes. I get it enough. I'm not
I'll take it.
have to every once in a while.
How is that high noon? Yeah, there you go. That's a good question.
That is a good question. It is not my favorite. Grapefruit stuff is definitely not high on my list of like flavors I would go for. Um, but it's getting the job done, I suppose, making the conversation flow a little bit easier for me. So I went on that really long kick of not drinking during the shows. I think it was like a few months, and now I'm back on the drinking during the show wagon, and I think it's better. It just takes are coming a lot easier.
There's your performance enhancer.
Mm-hmm. And since you bring that up, I had this come up at work. This is a complete derailment from the show, but we're going to go with it. So we were talking about baseball and like watching baseball growing up. I want to get, I'm going to see if you have a hot take on this one like I do. How do you feel about professional sports using steroids?
Oh
Professional
man, it's
athletes.
such a slippery slope because I'm a Cubs fan, and so seeing Sammy Sosa involved in the home run race with Mark McGuire and Barry Bonds, a couple years later, um, that was a thrilling time in baseball
Mhm.
because those guys were just automatic home runs when they stepped up to the plate. Um, and it was exciting. I mean, everyone was tuning in. Oh man, what are my thoughts? Like, should it be outlawed? Is that what you're like? Should it be banned? Is that what you're
Um,
asking?
I just, what do you think? What do you think about if athletes should or shouldn't be able to use performance enhancers if they're professionals.
From a okay, dang it, because I have
I
mixed.
can tell you mine if that makes it easier,
Okay, go for it. Yeah,
because
yeah,
I'll take the scrutiny for being the first one to say I could care less. If they
yeah.
want to use steroids, I mean, I especially with how expensive most top flight professional leagues are to go see now, I want to see the best possible athletes playing the sport at the highest possible level. It is up to them if they want to use it or not. If they don't like the stuff that comes with steroid use or stuff like that, then by all means don't take it. But the ones that do, then they do. I mean, it is a very slippery slope because where do you draw the line at performance enhancers and stuff like that? But I think just your generic Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds steroid abuse in baseball, especially of all sports, I think you let that one slide because people want to see runs.
I think a lot of people are so quick to protect and coddle baseball just because of that. It has that longevity, and it has that oh, what's the I can't believe I'm forgetting this movie, but what's the like you build it and they will come movie?
Oh, with Kevin Costner,
Yeah,
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams. Thank you. For some reason, I kept thinking like Angels in the Outfield, and I knew it was wrong. Um, but Field of Dreams, yeah, people like there's that romanticism surrounding the sport. They want it to stay as natural as possible. But we're in the modern era, and you have to capture as many eyes as you can. And people are capturing attention for the dumbest reasons possible. And so there are so many eyes that are shifting. Viewership in baseball, I feel like I could be wrong on this, is dipping. It's becoming less relevant. And performance enhancers actually help boost, the ratings because it boosts offense and all that kind of stuff. So from a business perspective, it's good for business. For the purity of the sport, obviously it's not. So there's that mixed opinions there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have more thoughts, but I don't want to derail the show more than I already have with that question. So,
Well, I love that Amy threw that question in here, and she's like, "Hey, how's that high noon? Not great."
and yeah, well, listen, I'm not going to come on the show and lie to everybody. That's just not my style. I'm not going to do that. Um, yeah, I definitely wish I had some watermelon and or pineapple ones,
Yeah.
but here we are. You got to get the ones you don't like out of the fridge too.
If we had the proper funding to take our show on the road, I would love to get your honest take going around to all the different League One cities and checking out like the stadium, the concessions that they all have, the merch that they have. That would be incredible right there.
Yeah, we would have to do the merch and stadium tours before the beer slash any alcoholic beverage consumptions because I will just say stuff that's out of pocket just to be funny and to get a rise out of people at that point. So it'd have to be before. But yeah, if we could get the funding, nudge nudge, hint hint, any potential sponsor, um, yeah, that would be really cool to do.
Yeah,
And
it'd
I'd
be
be
fun.
down for it. I mean, traveling the country, watching third division soccer, hanging out, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, yeah. And I can tell you, there's genuinely some really cool people at the different League One cities, and being able to be in the cities and be in their stadiums and have those conversations with them. It's really cool.
For sure.
All right, let's turn our attention just to remind everybody that we do keep track of our predictions.
Oh
It's
no.
been Yeah, we had to skip this past weekend because it was Jägermeister Cup. It wasn't regular season, so we're back into regular season action. Our scoreboard is back. Week 7, not a great week across the board. I will say it was a good week for Shadow Wolf once again, who had another exacto. Um, but um, yeah, at the end of the week, fans had 3 points, and you and I had one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not our greatest performance.
Yeah. And I mean, that brings up the fans overall to 21. My overall 16, Rich coming out of the back of the pack with 15. I think the monumental collapse of my good like first couple weeks of the season run needs to be studied because I am falling fast. I am in a definite free fall, and I'm hoping to turn that around this week. But then again, we've got listeners that know this league, Shadow Wolf, Tim, I mean, everybody else, just knocking it out of the park with exactos. So it's a steep hill to climb, but it's too early in the season for Jägermeister Cup throwing in the towels. It's too early in the season for scoreboard throwing in the towel. So I'm
Oh
gonna fight. I'm
yeah,
gonna fight and claw back to get back into this one here.
absolutely. I mean, I'm clinging to any sense of life I can in this scoreboard. So I'm looking forward to week 8 because I want to make sure that like I get myself back in the game. I'm only one off of you. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
competitive. So
yeah. How I'm
I
clinging on
want to
to
make this
second place, I have no idea.
happen.
Barely hanging on.
All right, so let's just jump straight into week 8 previews. We have a match tomorrow night. Richmond hosting Greenville. Oh, come on. Gotta
It's a
love
good one.
Richmond hosting Greenville.
Always, always a battle.
Yeah. They faced each other 17 times. This will be the 18th match all time. What's really interesting to me, these two are OGs of League One. As
Hmm.
we just said, this will be the 18th time that they've ever played, and they've never faced off in the playoffs. That's so crazy. How have you avoided each other in the playoffs that long?
You know, one would say that they're dodging each other. One could also say one team's been in the playoff every single year, um, and the other has not. Um, I don't know. I don't know how that doesn't happen. This feels about as much of a derby without actually being a derby as any any match in League One. These two teams play each other extremely well, and it's fun to watch. So just the fact that it happens to be on a Friday night makes it all the better.
And when you look at Greenville, I think it's their last 3 away matches. So Naples, or no, let's see, Chattanooga. Oh, dang, they've had a lot of home matches this season. Never mind. Um, these types of matchups tend to have a lot of cards between Greenville and Richmond, and Greenville has had a card presented to them in the first 20 minutes of their last 2 matches. Now, I also asked you last week if you were closer to hitting the panic button, and I described the whole situation. Um, and here they are, having lost 5 of their last 6 across all competitions. And you said it was going to take a dramatic loss against Tormenta to get your hand closer to the panic button. Are you still feeling that way?
Uh, um, I mean, they lost in a cup match. No, not necessarily. I guess I'd call me a believer, a big believer in Greenville, if you want to. It just for me, it's really hard to bet against a team that has consistently shown year after year that they get the job done. Um, I will say the hand has moved a little bit closer to that panic button, but until they drop out of the playoff line, I don't think there's any real cause for concern because as soon as we get to the playoffs, anything could happen. So
True.
once you drop out of playoff contention and if you continue to slide after you drop out of that 8 spot, then yeah, I think you start to really worry about a team. And it also depends on how they're playing. I don't think Greenville has looked that bad. And I think it was especially against Tormenta, I think it was more of Tormenta just being able to play the type of game that they're capable of. And it kind of goes back to what we say every year with Tormenta as well. Charlotte and Tormenta are those two teams. Which one is going to show up this week? They have the guys to be able to play really well, and when they show up, and they can hang with just about anybody. Um, and I think this was just one of those instances where Tormenta came out, played a perfect game, and Greenville didn't play a great game. So you put those two together, and that's what you get is a 2-1 loss.
Yep. I get it. Um, so I just spun the negative toward Greenville. Let's spin it in a positive light. When Greenville goes on the road to City Stadium, they're undefeated there in their last 5 meetings. 6 in their last 6 matches at City Stadium, they're undefeated. And that is a current ongoing streak. So this is a team that seems pretty comfortable in the confines of City Stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a tough place to be comfortable.
It is a very tough place to be comfortable.
Especially that particular corner flag over by the Red Army. That does not seem like a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, I will say I think that is my favorite. If there is one location in all of League One that is my favorite, that is my favorite.
That is a really good one.
Yeah, when the broadcast shows those corner kicks and they are actively leaning over the barricade to get as close as they can to the ear of the kick taker. It's just you gotta love the passion
Mm-hmm.
and the commitment to like just spewing vitriol in the player's ear. Any mental games they're gonna play, they're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. So Red Army, congratulations. I love it. Keep it up.
Yeah. I mean, you flip the script here and look at Richmond, though. They're sitting in fourth place in the league right now. 7 matches played on 10 points. They're a pretty even keeled team when it comes to offense and defense. They score a lot, but they give up a lot too. Um, as a matter of fact, they're the third highest in goals allowed behind Tormenta and Texoma. That is not company that you really want to be in. Anytime you're mentioned in the same breath as Texoma, sorry again, Texoma. I swear, as soon as you guys start winning, I will start singing your praises. But when you're at in the same sentence as Texoma, you're in a bad spot. Um, that being said, Greenville doesn't score a whole hell of a lot of goals. They're sitting on 5 goals in 6 matches right now. So I don't think it's going to hurt you that much that your defense doesn't play extraordinarily well because I think Richmond, especially this season, has shown that they've really, really come through and put an offense together that's going to be able to compete with the best in this league. Right now, they have the most goals scored in the league by 2 goals over Spokane Velocity. So Richmond can score. And going up against Greenville, a team that traditionally doesn't allow a whole lot of goals, that continues this season with only 5. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and throw out the whole 11 to 14 bottom of the table because the majority of those teams have played 3 matches as opposed to 7. So, if you take that into account, they are the leading defense in the league right now. So, I really feel like this is gonna be unstoppable force, immovable object. You have best on best, Richmond's attack versus Greenville's defense. Somebody's got to blink. It's just who's going to blink first.
I am nervous for Greenville because they've been shut out 4 of their 9 matches across all competitions. They've only scored more than 1 goal in 1 match this season. Um, whereas Richmond has only been shut out once, and they've scored a more than 1 goal in 3 of their 9 matches. So and the matches where they scored above 3 point, like their most recent one was when they hosted Westchester, and it was that 4-4 barn burner, like just crazy match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind giving away my prediction already. It's when we get to the score prediction when I'll put the finesse on it. I think Richmond's going to win this one. I don't like going against Greenville, like because they're such a consistent club, but I have serious doubts about their current performance. And that's not me being a hater. That's me looking at what they've done so far this season. Um, I think Richmond takes the win this weekend.
Well, I mean, I really could not have said it any differently or any better than that, Rich. So why don't you go ahead and take the floor? Give us your score prediction
God damn it.
because
Okay.
I agree with you 100%. So we're both leaning Richmond, but let's just see where you thinking the goals are going to be.
Okay. I am gonna say Richmond. Man, I'll even say, let's see, when's the last time that Richmond has never scored 3 goals on Greenville at home? In fact, they've only scored 2 goals on Greenville on 1 occasion, and that was back in the 2020 season. I think that breaks. I'm going to say Richmond 2-0. I'm really stuck on this like 2-0 streak. Like last week, the week before, I've been throwing out way too many 2-0s. I need to stop doing that.
I mean, you do have more exactos than I do. So maybe there's something to that too now.
I guess.
Um, yeah, I agree completely with you. I think right now Richmond is the better team out of these two. I think Richmond knows exactly what they need to do. I think Richmond is very good at doing what they do. Um, and I think this is a potent offense waiting to explode. Um, that being said, I also think it's going to be 2 goals between these two teams. Um, but I think the split is going to be Richmond's going to get 3 goals. They're going to score 3, and Greenville's going to get 1 back. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna take Richmond in this one, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think Greenville's going to get 1 in garbage time.
Like, or I don't hate that prediction. I can actually see the rationale there. I think it could very easily happen.
As opposed to every single one of my other picks.
All right, next one. I have I can talk about it, but I can't do a score prediction. So
Right.
I'm leaving this one up to you. But next match we're talking about is Saturday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. All these matches are on ESPN Plus. Um, I think I forgot to mention Richmond Greenville is tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, ESPN Plus. Now we're going into the Saturday night matches. This one is Ford Madison hosting Union Omaha. Let's get into it.
Yeah. This is the Midwest Derby. There's always bad blood. These teams don't like each other. They don't make any um they don't make it seem like they do. They got social media admins going after each other. Um About to be pandemonium up in Madison this weekend. Um yeah, I think both of these teams as they sit right now are unhappy with where they are, and I think both of these teams are better than they've shown at this point of the season. You got Ford Madison in 11th place, Union Omaha in 12th place, separated by 2 points in the league. And Tim bringing up a good point in a way, I suppose. Ford Madison also bringing in former Union Omaha players. Tim saying if Dami scores against us and celebrates, he's dead to me. For those of you who don't know, Dami Villader um, on the first title winning team for Union Omaha. Um, and we don't like when former players celebrate against former teams. At least I don't. So um, I'd agree with Tim on this one. A lot of bad blood in this one. Both teams not doing very well. Both teams looking to kind of right the ship, maybe get some bragging rights here. Like I said, social media admins going at each other. Um, both teams not playing particularly well, giving up 5 goals each. Um, Forward Madison scoring 4 though, so a little bit more, one more than Union Omaha. Union Omaha only having played 3 matches, 2 losses and 1 win. Forward Madison sitting on 1 loss, 1 win, and 2 draws. I think this one's going to be ugly. It's not going to be a fun match to watch. I think it's going to be a very physical, very hard fought match. And there's just both of these teams need to form an identity and need to form an identity quick. Um, I don't I don't recall there ever being a time where I have said that about both of these teams. Um, because both of these teams traditionally are pretty good. So it's tough. I don't know. I mean, to me, there's a whole lot wrong with both of these teams that needs to get figured out really quickly. Otherwise, these teams are going to sink to the bottom of this table and not be able to come back up from it.
Yeah, I feel like this is this is becoming a rivalry in the true sense. Before it felt like a manufactured rivalry, but the matches that we've seen between these two sides in recent years, it's becoming a rivalry, and I like it. It's becoming a rivalry for the right reasons. Before then, it was whatever, like the fans just because they're two Midwestern clubs going after each other. Like I didn't buy it, but um, now the clubs are at that rivalry esque level, and I also love the fact that they're playing each other at a time when I feel like they're at a similar level. So it's not like there's a lopsided competition in this, in this rivalry. Um, both teams are not where they want to be. Um, both teams have a lot to prove, and there's a lot at stake here. I know that we're talking about week 8 in a regular season and all that kind of stuff, but look, Forward Madison has conceded the first goal in the last 3 matches across all competitions. I think 2 of those were at home too. So not great. They just lost to Indy 11 4-0. They had that match against Texoma that was just crazy. I did not see Texoma being that competitive against Ford Madison at Bree Stevens. And then going against Charlotte on the road with a 1-1 draw. I did not see that one happening either. So these are, like you said, these are 2 teams that are still looking for that identity and a lot to prove. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you brought up the 2 admins going after each other, because I love when matches go further than just the pitch, and it goes further than just the fans, the 2 fan sections in the stadium. It goes into even the admins going after each other. I'm all for it. I
Yeah.
like it. As
Yeah.
long as it's like, yeah, as long as it's like professional and all that kind of stuff. Which I don't think anyone has ever stepped across the line. But you have really good people on both staffs going after each other on social media, and I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, this one is relatively difficult for me to pick, because as a, I don't know, would you call me a journalist, broadcaster, whatever you would want to call me, that professional esque version of me has to be impartial. But the fan part of me, I absolutely hate Forward Madison, and I think the feeling is mutual a lot of the time. So um, I think that's the only online fan base that I've ever had actual beef online with. So um, you can call me a hater, you can call me whatever you want me to, but this one, it's going to be decided by the team that gets on track, and I think this is going to be the match that gets the team that wins on track. Big derby win between these two, um, and then you win this, you start moving forward with it. You feel good. You get a win against a rival. Um, So unfortunately for the fandom side of me, I think Forward Madison takes this one. I don't. I'm not impressed with Omaha. I mean, I'm not impressed with Madison either, but I'm more impressed with Madison than I am with Union Omaha. I think Union Omaha has shown flashes. They are few and far between. They can't seem to put a full match together. And being at Bree Stevens, um, that's a tough place to come in and win. Granted, Omaha has done it before, but I like Madison in this one, and I think it's close because Union Omaha has the best keeper in the league behind in between the sticks. So I like Madison to get out of this one with a 1-0 victory.
And you're right. Union Omaha, I think Union Omaha's only won 1 of the last 5 visits to Bree Stevens. So yeah, there's some history that they're competing with when they head up to Madison as well.
Yep. And Tim asks if I'm finally accepting that I'm a legit media guy. I am not, only because I have not put in for media passes to things yet. As soon as I start doing that, then I will say I'm a legit media guy. But now, have I used the fact that we do a show to get into events that I probably wouldn't otherwise have been able to? Yeah, but it's not technically, I wasn't there as part of the media.
And I love that question is coming from um, now we can call him a legit media guy, because he does the write-ups, he does the recaps, he does the player backgrounds, he has multiple podcasts, he has his own website, he applies for the media passes. Yeah, Tim, Granting Blue Penguin Media. You can also catch him on Omaha Club Flush.
Yep. And he knows the
Ooh,
guy.
John Holt coming here saying easy now.
Hey, hey, I will 100% say I am 100% on board Union Omaha. That is my team. That will always be my team. But I also have a responsibility to be somewhat impartial when it comes to see me. If we did the show on Saturday, completely different. Union Omaha 5-0. But the fact that we're doing it on a Thursday night, I gotta be the actual legit mind behind it, not my fandom green shaded glasses on everything.
And there's gonna be a recording that everyone can reference back to.
Yeah, until Union Omaha does win 5-0 and be like, no, 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 that was I picked that. Remember, I said it. Just trying to get those points to try to catch up to the fans on this one, man. I got to do something.
All right, next up on Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff, also on ESPN Plus. Texoma hosting Charlotte. Interesting matchup because when you look at this, obviously, we have that whole Texoma is Texoma issue. You can't deny that despite the scoreline, they have been improving recently.
Yeah, definitely.
And at the same time, when you look at Charlotte, they have been having very close competitions. They have been improving as well. Um, but we're still waiting for them to get a win in the league on the road.
Mhm.
So there's some potential storylines here. We're still waiting for Texoma's, first club victory, first home victory, all that kind of stuff. But we have seen improved performances from them. And that is where, there's a little bit of a shaky dynamic here because we still don't exactly know Texoma.
No, yeah. Um, it's in Texoma. That's a plus. Um, Charlotte Independence traditionally very hot and cold. Um, I mean, if you look back at their last five, just their track record: win, draw, loss, draw, win. What do they do for it? This one, history tells us a draw. Does that happen? No, I don't think so. I think Charlotte is more talented than Texoma. Um, Texoma has been doing better. There have been flashes of greatness in them, I guess we'll call it. Doing better. There's been flashes of doing better. Getting a draw at Forward Madison, huge. That is going to be a huge um, piece of this pie here. And then, I mean, taking El Paso to penalties, another huge momentum swing. Initially looking at this, I was thinking 100% Charlotte all the way. I might be buying in a little bit on Texoma. I This feels like one of those matches where Charlotte could be overlooking Texoma a little bit in this one, and I think that's exactly what Texoma needs is a team that is consistently inconsistent coming in and trying to overlook the last team in the table. Um, yeah, you know what? Texoma's been playing a lot better. Charlotte's been playing well. They're due for a down game. I think I'm gonna have to throw the hot take of the week in this one. I like Texoma. Give me Texoma 1-0. I think they get it done.
There it is. There it is.
I like them.
Okay. I was wondering if you were gonna jump on Texoma in this one. Okay.
I wasn't initially, and I just started thinking about it a little more and just putting that all together in my head out loud. Just Tim coming in and saying, to be fair, it was probably impossible for Texoma to start playing worse. Fair. Fair
All right.
play.
So you said Texoma 1-0?
1-0. I like Texoma 1-0.
Okay.
A late, you know
All
what?
right.
I'm going to go even further. Late winner. Not
Late
stoppage
winner.
time. Not stoppage time, but late.
Okay. Because each of Charlotte's league matches have been decided by 1 goal or less. Obviously, if they have a draw, you're going to be tied.
There is laughing at Tim's comment.
Oh yeah, gosh, dang it! Now I gotta adjust my score. Um, I hope I wasn't going to go with a 2-0. The only match that Charlotte has had that was decided by more than 1 goal was their loss to North Carolina when they host North Carolina in the U.S. Open Cup, not the Jager Cup, the Open Cup. So this could be an interesting one. They matched up well with Tormenta because it became a high scoring affair and they lived up to the expectations, beating them 3-2 in week 7. I'm taking Charlotte in this one, and I will give Texoma the benefit of the doubt in this one. I will give them a goal, but I will say I almost said Tormenta. I will give Charlotte the benefit of the doubt in this one and give them 2-1, while giving Texoma a goal. So I'll
That's fair.
say Charlotte 2-1.
That's fair.
And that's the match that's going to get me caught up to you. Calling it now.
Think so. Telling you, dude. Texoma, something about them. The buy-in starts now. Buy low, sell high.
That's where we're at.
In honor of Warren Buffett coming in this weekend, man. You said it earlier. Got to.
Yeah, it's all coming together.
It's all part of the plan.
All right, Saturday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff, also ESPN Plus.
Yes. After
AB Alta
dark, baby.
FC versus Naples. So we have a team that is very good at home versus a team that is very good in general.
Yeah.
AB Alta have only lost once at home, and Naples have only had one loss in the regular season. They've had 2 losses across all competitions, but 1 in the regular season. So, good matchup. AB Alta knows how to pack their house. They know how to create an atmosphere, and should be a good match. I think
Yeah.
this one could be a sneaky good match.
Oh, I won't even say sneaky good. I think this is the match of the weekend. Um,
Ooh, okay.
you've got FC Naples obviously coming off of their first league play loss. AV Alta coming off of a loss as well. Um, you look at the just 100% stat wise, this should be FC Naples. You throw in exactly what you said earlier, Rich, a team that is very strong at home, a team that has great fan support in AV Alta. Um, I only expect that to get better with the top team in the league coming to town. This match, I think, is really going to showcase some of the individual skill that both of these teams have. I think there's some matchups that both of these teams can exploit. Um, I think offenses are going to be flying around in this one. They're both of the teams are middle of the pack scoring, but I think as we get further into the season, we're going to see a lot more scoring in this league. So moving forward in this one, FC Naples has a hell of a defense. Man, only allowing 3 goals this season. second best in the league, third best, excuse me. Portland is also sitting on 2, but also only 3 matches played as opposed to 7. So that another discussion for another time. Horrible, horrible. There's this big discrepancy, but um, one of the better defenses in FC Naples coming up against a very good AV Alta attack. Not so great on defense. I really like both of these teams coming into the league this season. I think they both made impacts that are growing the league. I think FC Naples' success really grows the league, and I think the fan support from AV Alta really grows this league as well. So you have a really good team playing against a really good home team. This is the hardest one to pick because we
I
cannot pick
agree.
draws. 100% this would be a draw in my book if we could pick them. Um, oh, I've already picked a pretty giant upset. I don't think I can do 2 giant upsets in a week. I really like FC Naples offense. I really like their team in general. Um, and I think AV Alta's defense is just not going to be able to keep up with FC Naples' offense. And I think FC Naples' defense is going to just suffocate AV Alta. So I like FC Naples 2-0 in this one.
Ooh, okay. You almost took my score. So AV Alta at home has only been held to 1 goal on 1 occasion. Outside of that, they've scored 2 and 3 goals in each of their matches at home across all competitions. At the same time, FC Naples has had 6 of their 11 matches across all competitions end up in shutouts. But see, this is where the whole dynamic shifts in here because AV Alta is really good at home. So I'm gonna take FC Naples 2-1.
It is definitely fair. It's really hard to argue it. And for the record, I could see this going the other way too. I could see a 2-0 AV Alta win in this one as well. It just depends on how loud those fans are. So if you're in the valley for that one, make sure you make it out to that match and make your voice heard because you're going to make the
Yeah,
difference in this one.
yeah. And I just want everyone to know that if you don't like my picks, they are sponsored by Woodford Reserve because this is my third time filling up my cup, and I'm really having fun.
I will say, if you don't like my picks, it's all me. What you have to figure out is whether or not I'm doing it to be funny or to get you guys talking, or if I actually believe them.
That's true.
It's I actually believe them. These are my actual picks. The only things I do for fun are throwing shade at teams. My picks are actually my takes.
I remember what was it like? There was a week we recorded last year when I was drinking Elijah Craig, and um, that got on top of me. And I think there was also another episode. I think this was probably like a couple of years ago when I was drinking Buffalo Trace or something like that, and that one got on top of me too. But yeah, I am feeling good. I'm not like to the point where it's getting obscene or anything like that, but I'm having a lot of fun right now. So let's move on to the Sunday matches. 6 p.m. kickoff Eastern Time, ESPN Plus. Portland Hearts of Pine facing off against One Knox. This is another one of those ones that is super interesting for me.
Um, yeah, I'll give my take quick because I don't have a whole lot of feeling in this one. I think this is if I could throw like a slam dunk, this is 100% gonna happen pick. It's this one. One Knox has a absolutely suffocating defense. and Portland has only scored 1 goal. Um, I don't think this is going to go well for Portland at all. Uh, I think One Knox is going to take this one rather easily.
Okay. That's a definitive answer. You know what we needed to do next time when we do scoreboards like next season? We need to do a confidence tracker as well.
Oh man, do I need to go down in the dumps for another category? I think if we tracked my takes over the years, I'm probably sitting sub 500 for good takes at this point. So I can only
I don't know. I
imagine.
think you'd be surprised.
I don't know, man.
I think you're doing better than you give yourself credit for.
I mean that I have heard that multiple times from people before in all aspects of life. Um, so it wouldn't surprise me, but meh. Tim says, "Do it as drinks required for me not to be nervous about this." Solid.
That is solid.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. I think Tim should have like a life sayings book, like a coffee table book, just
Yeah,
full of like Tim isms and throw them in there.
I'd buy
And
it.
I think it would be a bestseller in no time.
Tim, write it. I'll buy it. You got at least one person that'll buy it.
Yeah. Two. I'm here. I got you.
There we go.
All right. So Portland just announced that they have already sold out attendance for this match, which I think could be a huge contributor uh, to confidence for Portland in this one. At the same time, it's their league home opener. They have hosted matches there. Um, they won the first 2 rounds of the Open Cup at home. They did lose to Rhode Island in the third round. This is One Knox after all. Stout defense. They do have the ability to counter, and they do have good goal scorers too. I'm still taking One Knox in this one. What did you say your score was?
I didn't give a score yet.
Oh, okay. So we both agree that One Knox is going to win.
Yep.
Okay. So what's your score?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna stop picking Portland because they've been letting me down every time I have. Um, I like Knoxville 2-0.
2-0. Okay.
Sorry if I took
I
your
am
pick.
going. You did take my pick. I'm going to do One Knox. I'll say 2-1. I'll keep it tight. I think Portland keeps it close, keeps the fans engaged, but I think One Knox ultimately gets the 3 points at the end of the night.
I'm not gonna lie, I figured you were gonna pick 2-0, and that's why I was gonna kind of like leading in to let you go first because I thought you were gonna pick 2-0, so that's why I picked it. My other option was also 2-1.
So now you're playing mental games with me.
Dude, I got to do something. I'm trying to get back on top here. The fans have got us smothered at this point. I don't know if we should just be working together on this one, but too competitive for that.
That's also an idea for next season.
I'm too
Just
competitive
you and
for that.
I.
I gotta get my own win.
All right.
That's why
Well, let's move to the
That's why you pick Texoma to beat Charlotte. Nobody else is picking that. I'm getting a point
true.
off of that. It's going to happen.
Yeah, because we do agree on all the rest of the picks here so far. Dang it. Okay. Well, hopefully this one maybe is another decider. So Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN Plus, Spokane hosting Westchester.
Uh-huh. Uh Listen, I have made no I haven't how do I want to phrase this? It's no secret I'm big on this Spokane team. No secret at all. Um I really like them. I really think they're a very talented team. I really think that Lee Beatman really went after big name signings and has kind of molded this team from what they learned last season, making it to the final, picking up the pieces that they needed to go further this season. Um, and it's really shown out. I mean, looking at them, 12 goals in the league while only allowing five. That gives them the highest goal differential in the league right now, sitting on 11 points with a match in hand on FC Naples. Like, this team is legit. You turn and you look at Westchester, also a very good team, but a very small sample size of matches to watch them in. They're sitting right now in 10th place in the league. They're dead even on goal differential. 5 points after four matches. I mean, that's in any other league where you are within one match of teams, that is good enough to be above the playoff line. The way League One has it formatted, it's not the case. So only four matches, you're probably going to be below the playoff line no matter what you did. So the playoff line right now is separated by 1 point. So this is a very good Westchester team, a potential playoff team. Um, I really like the optics of this match. I mean, it's also in Spokane. That is really going to be could be a deciding factor. It really just depends. Maybe I should just call out the Spokane fans, get out to the park for this one. Um, it was crazy to see such high support numbers last season and not as many this season. I really think that the more people you can put into that stadium, the better that stadium is going to be for the home squad. And if you're sitting in second place right now with that, I think fan support's only going to take it higher. I mean, it's a big mountain to climb, but it could be done. Fans do make a difference here. I really think Spokane is a very technical team. They like to build through the midfield. They're able to do it. I think I will continue to sing his praises, even though he does celebrate when he scores on Omaha. But Luis Heel is one of the biggest pieces here. I think he's a guy that could really transition into coaching at some point when his playing career is done and do very well. And I think that helps the Spokane team, whether or not he's on the field or not. So um, I think this is going to be a battle. I think this is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think it's going to be. I think this is going to show you a lot about Westchester as well. I think they're going to come out and really put on a performance.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this one could be a very entertaining match for League One fans. Um, Spokane are undefeated in their last four across all competitions. They've even won four. They're undefeated. Well, I mean, they've won four of their last six matches. If you look at the only two losses they've had this season, one of them was against Tacoma Defiance in the Open Cup, and it was only by 2-1. And even then, it was a very hard fought 2-1.
Mhm.
Um, and then the other loss was at home against Naples, and that was a 1-0 victory for Naples. So, again, a very close match against a very good team. So, Naples is capturing a lot of attention this season for obvious reasons. But I feel like Spokane is still churning out strong performances and great results with little attention. They deserve more attention. And
Mhm.
I agree with you. I think that their stadium should be packed more than it is. It also uh, doesn't do them any favors that the camera angle for their broadcasts shows the opposite stands. Whereas
Yeah.
if we could see the main stands, we could get a true sense of how many fans are truly populating one Spokane stadium. But I agree with you. They're still, even despite that broadcast angle for their matches, there still aren't enough fans in that stadium. They need to pack it out. This is too good of a team to not be attending, to not be supporting. Get to one Spokane Stadium, um, you know, support Benji, support, Spokane Soccer Show. Just make sure that you're supporting all aspects of the Spokane Velocity. At the same time, Westchester's coming in, with a season where they started off undefeated in their first four matches across all competitions. Since then, they haven't won in any of the last four matches across all competitions. So we're still looking for that resurgence from Westchester. Now, could this happen against Spokane? I think you and I are on the same opinion. I think Spokane wins this one. But I think this is a great match for us to check and see where Westchester is in relation to the rest of the league. Because before this, they had a 4-4 draw at Richmond. They had a 2-0 loss at AV. And they had that 3-1 win at Texoma. So now they go to Spokane, which can be a very tough place to play. And this could be another one of those barometer tests for Westchester. Once again, I think you and I are both on the same opinion here. I think we both pick Spokane. Do you want to go first with the score, or would you like me to?
Why don't you take this one? I'm curious.
Are you gonna try to do like an upset here and like counter everything that I'm doing?
No, absolutely not. No,
Okay.
you're right. You're right on. I do think Spokane wins this one. I'm just curious to see
Okay.
what you think it is because I do have thoughts on it.
All right. I say Spokane wins, and I will say it is. Let's see. Let me go back to. Oh man. Okay. I'll say 3-1 for Spokane.
Shouldn't have let you go first. Um, yeah, I do like Spokane in this one. I think their their ability to score is very underrated. Um, in this league, I think there are teams that do it flashier than Spokane does, and that's why they don't get the attention. Um, but this is a very, very good offense. And I think they're just going to be able to pass Westchester to death and just exploit the gaps in the defensive coverage. Um, so my initial pick was 3-1. Um, but I refuse to think that Spokane's going to score less than 3 in this one. So I've got to go up to 4, but I also like the 2-goal spread. So I'll give Westchester 2 in this one and say Spokane wins at 4-2.
Ooh, wow. Okay, that's quite the scoreline. I like it.
Yeah, I mean,
I
like
think
I
that's
said, I think Spokane's going to score goals. They are very good at it. But I also think Westchester hasn't shown really how good they are quite yet. I think they haven't had many opportunities to either. I mean, that's again, I'll pound the league for this one more time tonight. The fact that they played 4 matches where Spokane's already played 6 is a little crazy to me this early in the season. Um, but yeah, I don't think Westchester's been able to show what they can really do yet. And I think this one, I have a feeling Westchester probably scares them a little bit early, but I feel like Spokane is just talented enough to overcome a deficit to come back and win.
all right. There you have it. Those are all of our picks for Week 8 of League One action. I didn't see any questions in the live chat or on the social media platforms. So if you have a question for us, throw it in here now because we can start wrapping up here pretty soon. We did have a statement here from Tim. He's saying Dos Acero, and I think that was when we were talking about Portland and One Knox. I could be wrong on this on that one, but a Dos Acero, which is what you picked. You said 2-0.
Yeah, I picked see did I do two? I did two nils this week. You only did one.
I did one.
And I will say, now that I just kind of scrolled, and I don't know why I didn't put two and two together. If you could pick Union Omaha matches, you would probably be ahead of me in the standings.
You might be right. I had to rely on Union Omaha a lot last season.
Yeah,
It kept me in the race. I will
yeah,
say that.
yeah. Um, Texoma. I for the sake of the show and me trying to get back on top my competitive side, you really got to pull this one out this week. You really got to. I don't show me doesn't root for teams. I whatever team wins is whatever team wins. My personal competitive side, I'm gonna be putting on a Texoma hat.
All right. I like it.
And I hope Charlotte fans don't get mad because I don't think I can handle two different fan bases always being mad at me all the time. I'm sure there's already another one somewhere.
I
I
like
think
the picture
actually
that
not
you
picking Union Omaha the past few weeks has probably pissed off a few Union Omaha fans at this point. But
I don't know, maybe, but you got a competition going of yourself, so you gotta try to win.
yeah, that's all it is. It's not
Just win, baby.
yeah. You got to make the right decisions. Sometimes the
Yeah.
right decision is, you know, a team that you love just isn't cutting it. You just got to call it out.
That's a realistic fan right there.
Oh shit, I'm a Husker fan, so I drink the Kool-Aid every single year. So one of the teams I have to be realistic.
That's also true. Um, while we still wait for any questions that may be coming in here, I saw that Vegas set the over under on the Chicago Bears for the upcoming season at 8.5. I'm taking
Oh,
the under on that, and I'm walking away with full pockets. Ain't no way
mhm.
they're winning over 8 wins.
Uh, oh, I will say as well, I would be very upset at myself if I didn't mention this, but Tim, you will like this part of it too. Liverpool winning the Premier League. Come on. Great things
Congratulations.
happening.
Yep.
Um, yeah, beating out Arsenal. So Colin sucks to be you. Um, but no, we went up to Beerhen on Sunday to watch that with my dad and Colin. We all three of us went up there and watched it, and it was a good time. Was not expecting that outcome. Um, the last time I was up there was for, or the last time I was up there for a big match like that was the Champions League final in 2019. That was a lot closer of a match, so the atmosphere was a lot crazier. Um, it was crazy for what it was. But when you win a match 5-1, it's really hard to once you get to about that 3-1, it's the 65th minute or something like that. You're up 3-1. It's all but a done deal at that point. So it calmed down a little
Yeah.
bit, but still great time. Uh, Colin pointed out that I've been very spoiled in my soccer fandom. I've seen Liverpool win two Premier League titles, a Champions League title. I've seen Union Omaha win two league titles, three supporter shields. Like, man, I've seen my NBA basketball team. I've seen them win two, three NBA titles. My fandom, I've been very spoiled in my sports fandom,
Really have.
except for Sporting
Yep.
Kansas City. They haven't won. anything since I've been following him. So solid.
I even have at my desk, I have a sheet of paper where I wrote third through seventh in the Premier League, and I have a breakdown of each of the clubs and how Villa can possibly get into Europe next season. And it's like an outside chance at best, but I'm still jumping through all the hoops and clearing every hurdle possible up here. Um, and I'm fully embracing my Aston Villa bias. But man, yeah, I don't think that they're going to make Europe next season. But when I'm looking at that piece of paper, I'm doing all the scheming in my head. Um, but yeah, no,
Well,
the
let's see.
brain's telling me something my heart doesn't want to hear.
Sitting 3 points out with 4 matches left. It's possible. It's definitely
Having them
possible.
Having Nottingham Forest lose to Brentford today was a huge help.
Big one.
Um, but Aston Villa's last second loss to Manchester City was a huge dent in any hopes of making Europe.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
yeah, there's also some injury concerns and um, mood concerns that Aston Villa is dealing with right now. So I just don't think they're going to make Europe. But I would
All right.
love to see them back next season. Anyways,
Yeah. And
that
I was going to say real quick for anybody out there doubting how much Rich puts into these things, anything that he puts his mind into, the outline for this show was one of the shorter ones we've ever had as far as outlines go, and it was still 13 pages long. If that tells you anything about the amount of work that Rich puts into the sport that he loves.
And before we even hit record, I was still telling Brian, like, I'm so disappointed because I didn't put nearly as much preparation into it as I wanted to.
I think when we were doing the shows the first season, I think these outlines were like in the 20-page range.
Yeah,
So you've come down quite a bit.
yeah,
And I think we both kind of found our stride and the things that we kind of know offhand and the things that you put in here that like help that the not offhand knowledge stuff. But still, I mean, 13 pages is no joke. So
yeah.
nobody out there can doubt your dedication to your craft. That's for sure.
I do love this. This is a lot of fun. I get to go to work and then I come home and I get to continue talking about soccer. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. All right. No more questions in the live chat. No more questions on social media. That is a wrap on another episode of League One on the Rocks. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be more than happy to bring you more coverage next week as we continue to take a look at all the recaps and previews across the League One landscape. My name is Rich. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at I'm Rich But I'm Not, and that is Brian. You can find him on Twitter at Meteor Grace. We'll see you next week.